What's that, Stevens? What's that? You want to know what love is? You want Sanja's definition of love? You want to hear it because you love something. What is it you love?
I know what he loves.
You love cigarettes.
Knew it.
I've told you, Stevens.
Stevens, have you tried vaping? They've got banana flavour vapes now.
No, it doesn't go up your bum. Dirty monkey. What is love?
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me.
Fuck off.
I don't know. What is love?
Oh, great. Brilliant.
Love is a mystery.
Is it?
Gifted to us by the gods.
But love has changed over the years, hasn't it?
Love or romance?
Okay, so romance.
Romance.
When I was having one of my daily browses on eBay to look for shit to buy,
I thought you were going to say your daily browns.
I stumbled upon these. They're love letters. They're from a guy called Curtis. And these were written 80 years ago in the 1940s to a certain Dorothy. We're not going to say their surnames. As I discover, there's quite a lot of information about them online and their families. But what we're going to do is we're going to have a read of these love letters and see what we can learn about romance. Stevens, you're a bit surplus to requirements in this episode, aren't you? Yes. Do you want to go down there? What are you going to do down there? Dirty. No. And you're not having a cigarette afterwards either. Let's get rid of him.
Oh, poor Stevens. Paul, you can't be that rough with him.
Before we get to these letters, though, I thought we'd have a look at some other love letters.
That's romantic.
We sort of did love emails, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
But I've got some of those to read out.
No, you don't. No, please, you do not.
So this one is from Henry VIII that he wrote to Anne Boleyn.
Awkward.
Do you know where they went on their first date, those two?
To the pond.
No, to Anne Boleyn Alley. Anne Boleyn Alley. They went to Anne Boleyn Alley. So, yeah, he was besotted with that because he moved heaven and earth, almost literally, to get married to her because he had to change all sorts of, that was what happened
laws
with the Catholic Church and, broke with Rome and all the rest of it.
Hope it was worth it.
Well, wasn't because he
Not for her.
He had her executed. Prior to her becoming queen and all the rest of it, he would write her love letters, which are now, and no one quite knows why, in the Vatican.
In the Vatican?
Yeah, people actually don't know how they ended up in the Vatican. Do you know how the Pope pays for things in the Vatican?
With PayPal.
Yes. Why are you not letting me say the joke?
Well, you can still
No,
say
it's too
it.
late now. You've ruined
You
it.
can
Read
say
the bloody
it.
letter. No.
All right. My mistress and friend, my heart and I surrender ourselves into your hands, beseeching you to hold us commended to your favour, and that by absence of your
affection is just the oldie worldy way of writing.
affectation to us may not be lessened, for it were a great pity to increase our pain, of which absence produces enough and more than I could ever have thought could be felt, reminding us of a point in astronomy, which is this: the longer the days are, the more distant is the sun. For by absence we are kept a distance from one another, and yet it retains its fervour, at least on my side. I hope the like on yours. The pain of absence is already too great for me. And when I think of the increase of that which I am forced to suffer, and seeing that I cannot be personally present with you, I now send you the nearest thing I can do to that. Namely, my picture set in a bracelet, with the whole of the device, which you already know, wishing myself in their place, if it should please you. This is from the hand of your loyal servant and friend, H.R.
Do you love me? Do you love me?
No, okay, I'm chopping your head off.
And then chopping your head off.
Yeah.
Do you love bins?
Yeah.
Then you'll love Binder. It's the new dating app for people who love bins. Binder is the only app exclusively for people who want to go on dates near bins. Hot bin lovers in your area are waiting to meet you today.
Shut up. You a nut. And that's a conclusion based on fact. No. Have a nice day. You drink hurt me, sucker. Oh, my. Oh, that's good. Right on, brother.
Bin der bin der bin der bin der bin der bin durban 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 bin der 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 bin bibble dibble dibble der.
Let's read these letters that Curtis wrote to Dorothy.
All right.
We've got them in chronological order. We're not going to read them all, and I suggest we don't read the entirety of the letters.
No.
There's a shit ton. We've only got one side of it. We haven't got Dorothy's side. We also know what became of them, which we'll reveal at the end.
I don't know that yet. Only you know yet. We'll just start off by saying Curtis and Dorothy lived in New York. Curtis was the trainee pastor. Dorothy's a bacteriologist. Student. But the letters start off quite tame. I don't think there's a lot of romance going on in the beginning.
They span about
a year.
The first one was from 1939.
My dear Dorothy, here is a note in answer to your 2 good letters. Since giving up my plan to finish my schoolwork in April, I am much happier. In fact, I hardly do anything at all. He loves doing nothing, by the way.
Yeah.
He hates his job.
Something we
or
learned.
his studies.
Yeah, he seems to hate people as well, apart from women.
Great
He
for a
seems to hate
pastor.
everyone but women, and he also hates dogs. That's what we've
Oh, I
learned.
didn't read anywhere he hated dogs. Yesterday and today, I've been reading several books about irritability to prepare a sermon on that subject.
You sure that says irritability?
Immediately?
Immortality?
Immortality.
Irritability. A sermon. You go to church and he does a sermon about being irritable. This is going to happen a lot, by the way, because his handwriting's bloody awful.
My communication classes have about 30 youngsters. Men's. I have
Jesus,
a
this is gonna
lot
be
of
painful.
papers to correct. The dear hats. Tell that foul angel.
You cannot read this, Sanja.
No, let me read
if you're
it.
going to read every bloody letter like this,
I
where you're
won't,
just
I
making
won't.
up shit as it goes, it entirely defeats
Let
the
me-
object of this episode.
Let me read it. Let me read it.
You are not reading it because you are incapable.
I can. Tell
Okay,
that
and also
foul
this is
angel.
all really boring.
Yeah, well, this is one of the earlier ones, so they are boring. Tell that foul angel that she knows jolly well that she owes me a letter. I have windshielded wipes for the car, man. Put them
He
on
said
myself.
man. Now. It says now. It clearly says now. He's not going, man, I got windshield wipes, man. Yeah, man, I got them whippers.
So I imagine they'll be off before long.
Now, Angel is...
The centerfold.
I don't know whether Angel is
The centerfold.
Dorothy's sister.
She seems to be close to Dorothy.
Yeah, but it seems like there might have been a little bit of flirtation between Curtis and
Angel.
The centerfold.
Pogo.
Look here, if you really want that picture back, you write me and ask for it once more.
So she sent him a picture. That's quite flirty, isn't it?
Then I'll bring it. But I want it.
Wow. He
This
wants
is-
to keep a picture of her. That's
Even though
quite-
he's talking about Angel,
What's he doing with the
mixed
picture?
messages. Much love to my Dorothy Curtis. Thanks for letting me hold your hand.
Whoa.
It is sweet.
Yeah, they held
Okay,
hands.
Curtis.
So this
All
one
right.
is from March. This is the following month.
Month later.
So he's already progressed in this one. It's my dear darling Dorothy.
Ooh.
This is a significant day. In exactly 4 months, talking about the church stuff. I'm going to skip some of this, Sonia. This is how you do it.
All right.
I had a very good time the other evening with you. Glad I still know a few civilized people. Out here, when they want to have a good time, they have things called square dances and go nearly wild. Angel would be good at square dances with her short skirts.
It's like, who are you interested in, Curtis? You're sending mixed messages.
Yes, this happens a lot. Curtis is
And then he wonders why Dorothy...
blows hot and cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you are only religious, you'll just suit me.
Oh.
Oh, too bad you aren't.
Wouldn't it be a trifle stupid to be a preacher and damned at the same time?
Well, as long as my money keeps piling up in the bank, I am comfortable.
Oh, so nice to know he's a preacher for the right reasons. This one's from May 1940.
Ooh, look how he starts this one.
My dear angel Dorothy, I shall be delighted to take you to dinner on Sunday. Very glad to have your letter.
Oh, this is a good one.
Yeah, I haven't read
I
this
called
one.
on all the parish men on the long street and not one home. Best luck I've had for weeks. He don't like his job. I told you I was going to a dinner dance last evening. Well, by one phenomenal good fortune, I couldn't find the place, and so was spared the whole agony of a frightful evening. I do have a jolly lot of luck, really, for a person whose life is in the hole a little hard. He's a whinger. He's like us. When I think how I escaped that dame last spring, when the noose was tightening around my neck, it always keeps me from complaining too much.
Wow.
Look here, I'm absolutely stuck for anything more to say.
That's unlike him.
Yeah, when you won't let me talk about women, it takes away my strongest suit.
What?
So things are starting to hot up, but he's still seeing other women. Right, so this is also May. My dear Dorothy. Oh, he's dropped all the Darling Angel stuff.
Oh, okay, he's gone a bit off her now. It's no darling angel.
This one's interesting because it mentions the war. Isn't this war thing grim again? This war thing. This whole thing that's going on over there in Europe. Hitler certainly puts on a good show. Ought to be in Hollywood. I trust he has overplayed his hand, however. I wonder what had just happened in May. I am longing to be a chaplain in the army when we enter the fun. I especially look forward to comforting the dames when the boys go to the front. Does Angel need any comforting?
What?
I could use a bit of practice. What a tart.
Wow.
He's a tart.
Wow. I wonder what Dorothy thought of all this.
Yeah. So, that's that one. Again, he's taken a photo of her. He's been calling her dear darling Dorothy, and now he wants to comfort whoever Angel is.
And all the other ladies.
The dames at the front.
Yeah. In July, he's back to Dorothy, my darling. For once, I'm feeling very happy today.
For once.
Seeing you last evening undoubtedly has a lot to do with it. You know, Dotty Puss.
Now, this is Dotty Puss is his pet name for her from pretty much going forwards.
Dotty Puss.
He calls her Dotty Puss.
There are all sorts of big and little things I'd like to say to you and write to you.
Oh, he's dropping some hints there.
But I'm getting so brittle in my old age and self-conscious that I hardly dare even write them for fear of sounding silly. And I do say things that sound like a lovesick ninny. Please don't laugh.
Oh, he's lovesick.
He's a lovesick ninny. I've thought about you a great deal lately. I wonder if you think about me between your test tubes and dog washings.
She washes dogs.
On account of you, I keep wishing I were a success. But I suppose I could never be worthy of a girl like you. I don't wonder that you doubt the wisdom of letting yourself care for me. I feel kind of starry-eyed when I think of you. Just like chaps I've known in love and thought them crazy. I'm looking forward very much to seeing you Sunday. I hope you won't have any other men around.
This is another ongoing theme, by the way. He's paranoid that she's seeing other fellas.
I hope you won't have any other men around if you can possibly avoid them. Even driving teachers. Even driving teachers.
Controlling. Okay, so this was written in a hotel on August the 3rd, 1940. Here I am in Washington, and I should be working on my sermon. This is just the constant, isn't it? So I'll skip ahead. You know, I've been thinking about you and wondering if I have misjudged you.
Misjudged you.
Oh, here we go. Are you always as cool with all the chaps as you were until recently with me? Perhaps I trust you too much. For 4 years, you were out from under my watchful eye, and I suppose you were doing a good deal besides learning bacteriology. Getting drunk every weekend, for instance. And who were the gentlemen you were running around with?
Oh my goodness, Curtis.
Perhaps I should cut my vacation short and make sure that the minute I go, you don't start seeing some kind or other. What about giving me a candid account of the 4 dark years?
He couldn't handle it if he knew.
It didn't occur to me to imagine at the time when you indicated that love affairs upset you, about how many times and under what circumstances you had been upset. Well, Dotty Puss, my darling, just in case you have forgotten, just remember that old me loves you so much that he is contemplating being a success, loathsome though the idea is, involving as it does work and being nice to wretched people.
Wow. Curtis.
A good Christian man. I know you get bored easily by romantic notions. Well then, I may say I got a letter from...
Brown. Why are you laughing at that? It's a surname.
Who is Brown?
Who is Brown? That is the question.
I got a letter from Brown the other day, which started, "Hello, precious," and went on in the usual vein. Spoke of you to me in complimentary style.
None too complimentary style.
And then he goes on about the weather a bit.
Did you hear,
in none too complimentary.
Yeah.
In none too complimentary style.
Brown.
Oh, Brown.
So Brown wrote him a letter starting, "Hello, precious," and then spoke to him of Dorothy in none too complimentary style. Why is he telling Dorothy this? Sounds like he wants to upset Dorothy or make her jealous.
Come on,
I think
look.
so,
Anyone
yes.
who's ever been in a relationship, though, that first year or so is horrible.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I mean, it's
the beginnings are the worst.
you're giddy and all that, but there's just so much.
The insecurity is awful. Okay, so this letter is from August. Dorothy, darling, you being so marvellous about remembering my birthday permits me to call off the rules for once.
What are the rules? He doesn't elaborate what the rules are, but he's calling off the rules.
Yeah. Why I didn't go mad over you before, I can't understand.
Wow.
Still, in fairness to myself, I must say, you didn't do much to lead me on.
Mixed messages.
I know. Anyway, I like your kind best and think you're simply wonderful. Just been thumbing through a bunch of letters which came to me in the summer of 35. I finally found one from you and Angel together.
What's the deal
In
there?
your handwriting. Maybe Angel was her sister.
Oh, by the way, at this time, I think Curtis was about 29 and Dorothy was about 21.
Ah. Were you ever in love with me in the early days? Makes me so mad to think that I didn't exploit that situation more fully. Oh, okay, Curtis.
This is another person, like Old House Lindsay gets mentioned a lot. Old House
Lindsay.
I only know that says house because in other letters,
Oh,
it's
right.
Old House Lindsay, whoever that is.
Old House Lindsay rooted me into going to the Lafayette Club out at
Minnesota,
Minnetonka.
Washington, him by whoever.
It does look like Minnetonka.
Okay, so he's gone out now with Old House Lindsay and he's telling Dorothy. I don't know how Dorothy will feel about that.
Well, but he does say, I opposed the plan, but she overruled me in the dirty way some women can. Curtis!
Curtis?
It was fun to watch her get a workout. Oh my goodness, Curtis. Believe it or not, I have had no dates otherwise. Loyal to you. What?
I should think so, Curtis. You're telling her you love her, you've held her hand.
Yeah, but then you're telling her about going on dances. And now listen, I have seen the blonde around the corner
The
only
blonde around
once.
the corner gets mentioned quite a lot as well.
I've seen the blonde around the corner only once.
He's been seeing the blonde around the corner.
When she walked by the house with the Observer, her pooch. The Observer, by the way, so called by me due to his habit of inspecting critically all passers-by from the door of his residence, is likely the principal reason why the blonde around the corner isn't married. She being the right age, pretty, and having a bit of the necessary in her own name. So we are
She's
told.
loaded and pretty, but she's got a dog that observes.
When you go over to her place, you are no sooner
Eased in the best chair in the living room, waiting for her to finish her bath. When in
barges the Observer, his mouth filled with an old shoe. You keep throwing this beastly shoe until you are near exhaustion. The writing gets really messy at this point.
he's angry because he hates the Observer.
Finally, you hit upon a plan. You throw the thing under a sofa and consequently completely baffle the Observer, who sets up in a frightful racket. At this moment, in comes the blonde around the corner, her blue eyes blazing with wrath To think that you could be so cruel to her ghastly pooch. So when you go to propose, she is in no mood to listen, especially if, when she bends down to get the shoe, you have given her a light caress on the place where it seems most suitable.
Curtis.
Speechless.
I mean, I'm hoping this is a hypothetical situation. That about finishes the blonde around the corner. And as for Fishmouth Bros, aged 9,
What?
with whom I was a great success last summer, I regret to report that she has been around but once. So Fishmouth Bros is another dame. I was interested in your account of the bird who fell in love with you at first sight. Don't know what to say about that. Took me 7 years. Sometime I want to meet this Bob.
Oh yeah, he's
well
mentioned,
jealous of Bob.
He's mentioned Bob before.
First to see what he looks like. Wouldn't want to spend more than 5 minutes with him if you were around. Have a lot of things to tell you, but this is enough for now. So you write right away when you get this.
September 20th. So he was reading scripture and he got to Paul's "O wretched man that I am," and then he got into a rather morbid streak regarding this Bob as a definite menace.
Oh, he's so jealous of Bob.
Whereas previously I had taken him lightly, I began to realise that time and tide were in his favour, but all of this is, I hope, some time away. While this thing lasts, it is the best thing that's happened to me, and so I must spoil it by worry. Sorry this letter is such a mess. I always think way ahead of what I'm writing. I enclose a note for Angel, which you are not only not to read, but not to ask her about.
He's asking Angel whether she's running around with Bob. That's what's going on.
He's telling her there's a note included for Angel. You're not allowed to read it and you're not allowed to ask her about it. Like, if Angel's her sister, all I can say is as if she's going to be asking Angel straight away.
So this is September 24th.
4 days later.
Dottipus, have I told you lately how pretty you are?
Aww.
I'm afraid I just take it for granted. Sanja, you're pretty.
Aww.
I don't take it for granted. And it is wonderful to be able to kiss you and put my head in your lap. So this one's interesting.
This is October 14th, so a couple of weeks later.
Last night, after our little service, which went off nicely, and after everyone had gone home, the church started to burn.
Oh my goodness, he says it so blasé.
Well, and then he says, I'd always hoped this would happen. What? Why is he doing it for? May I stay overnight with you Wednesday? I need a bit of comforting.
Yeah. October 25th. My dear Dottipus, your letter, which arrived almost an hour ago, makes me feel that the time has come to bring our little romance to a gentlemanly and friendly conclusion. Oh, this is the sad one. Probably you feel the same way yourself, but hate to say it and hurt my feelings, as I have been so obviously in love with you. As usual, you are admirable in your restraint, but I imagine that you do not love me in any serious way. Certainly, you never show any sign of it.
Ouch.
Not in the way ordinary girls do.
Oh, burn.
And that, therefore, I am not causing you any pain by what I am saying. You are the kind of girl who apparently can't play at being in love.
Man, this is harsh.
And as long as you cannot marry me, the whole thing ought to be given up completely. Don't you think? I mean to say, past efforts in a romantic direction, meeting only a kind of rigidity in you, must seem foolish and annoying to you. And frankly, they are becoming rather tiresome to me.
Wow.
I must tell you again that I'd rather marry you than any other girl I've ever met. While I cannot understand any girl wanting to marry me, I still do not know just why you refuse. It naturally seems that you managed to keep your passion in inverted commas, pretty well under control. I mean to say, no more of this absurd romance. Holding hands and all that. Physically, you'll be as safe as though you were dressed in armour, and that should make you very happy.
Wow. He's basically calling her frigid, isn't he?
Yeah. Perhaps when I tell you again that one of the important reasons for my break with Henrietta was my regard for your family and my desire to keep my old friendship in your home.
Who's Henrietta?
Dorothy, if you think I'm wrong in what I'm proposing, for heaven's sake, tell me so. It hurts me like everything to know that this is the end of our old intimacy, which at one time meant so much to me that I was actually prepared to study and work again and do anything I could to be worthy of you. Please do not say that I mustn't see you at all. That would be going a bit too far. What? He gets to throw in that.
So this was October the 30th. This is 5 days after the breakup letter. Dottipus, my darling, I keep looking at this picture which you've sent. It is lovely. Just like my sweetheart. So they're back on. You know, for once in my life, I have some sort of
caveman. Oh God, this letter.
God, right.
Oh my God, this letter is...
Yeah.
Okay, remember this was written in 1940.
So for once in my life, I have a sort of caveman feeling. A few thousand years ago, if my heart had been all right, I'd simply have taken you by the hair and dragged you off to my nice cave and slammed you down in front of the fire and told you to start cooking. Either you'd have done it or you'd have felt rather uncomfortable in certain parts of your anatomy. I never thought much about the physical approach, but I must say it has a lot to recommend it. Well, old Dottipus, that's the mood I'm in at the moment, at least. A sort of a want my woman attitude. Jesus.
No, he's in a real state.
But what is a man to do in this beastly civilization where women are just like men and I can't drag you off by the hair? But I want you and I won't let you get away. So the caveman says this, being unable to pull you by the hair. You young ass. Have you given up your stupid thinking? If you haven't driven your absurd ideas out of your head, go to a psychologist.
What on earth?
Now, you mind what I say. No more nonsense out of you, Jesus, Curtis.
Just affection.
And good times. I'm not going to let the dearest girl I've ever known get away from me just because she's mildly cracked. Fancy me letting you go on with your dumbness all these months.
Has he been drinking when he wrote this?
Well, we'll get to that.
If you insist on chucking me, Dottipus, I'll just go running around with a lot of girls I don't care two pins about.
Brown, for instance. Fancy running around with Brown.
Oh my goodness. And yet he's thinking about it.
He's given up on the whole, but fine, we won't get married then, but I'm not giving up on you yet. I'm going to wear you down. But what these letters tell us, what do they tell us, Sanja? What do they tell us?
They tell us that Curtis was needy and jealous and very affectionate at the same time.
He was full of love.
Dorothy was a bit more like, whoa, give me space.
Back off. I'm not surprised she was like that.
But then
was
he kept
full
telling
on.
her about all these other women. What does he expect from her?
Yeah, and the thing
what
is...
does he expect her reaction to be?
Here's the thing. We're not going to read out all the letters because there's a lot, and also some of them I want to spare the family's blushes.
One of those women is her sister.
We think.
We think.
There's Brown. There's the blonde around the corner. Spoilers. They do get back together, Dottipus and Curtis. But he doesn't stop flirting with women. He doesn't stop seeing women. He doesn't stop telling her about women. And he doesn't stop being jealous of men that she might be running around with. Which, if she is running around with them, frankly, I don't blame her because he's flirting with women. And also, they do get... There is one letter in here that I'm not going to read out in order to spare the family's blushes. There's a little bit saucy.
Oh, steamy letter.
Where he talks about how hard things are. And that he needs some relief from her and comfort. But... people are people, aren't they? Love is love, and infatuation is infatuation. And from all the letters we've read, I don't think things have changed dramatically. You know,
not dramatically.
What's changed is technology.
Yes, people now swipe left and right, don't they, to show their affection.
They go to outside of Wimpy's to break dance on some lino and drink Alka-Pops as their first date.
Do you drink or eat Alka-Pops?
Drink them? What the hell is the drink?
Well, they're ice. You might
No,
chew it.
they're not. Alka-Pop.
I've never even seen an Alka-Pop.
God, get with it, Grandma. Hey, how did this end? Did they get married, Sanja? Did they have children? Did they live happily ever after? Or did they split up? What happened during the rest of their life? Well, fortunately, having been able to do some detective work online, terrifyingly, for the family, I have found out what happened to Curtis and Dottipus. And I can tell you that they did get married the following year, 1941.
Wow.
Yeah, so he wore her down.
It only took him a year.
He wore her down.
These letters end in, I think, December 29th or 30th, 1940.
And he continued to become a minister. Dorothy, she was a graduate of Packer Collegiate Institute and Vassar College. And she became, I think, some sort of doctor or blood doctor of some sort. They had 3 kids, Curtis Jr., David and Richard.
So Curtis retired in 1976.
Now, Curtis sadly died in 1989 of liver failure or liver cancer. Dorothy sadly died last year of COVID. More than, 30 years after Curtis?
Wow.
But she was like 97, 98 when she died.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I wish I could have seen her letters to him.
Yeah, and see how
different they were.
How cold they were.
Maybe he was just imagining them to be cold.
Yeah, well, look.
He might have been reading into her letters.
From what I gather from Curtis's letters, the guy was a bottomless pit of insecurity. So I suspect no amount of affection from Dorothy would have been enough for him. It's weird, isn't it, that these were on sale on eBay. Why they ended up there, who sold them. And interesting, the timing as well, because Dorothy died last year. So I don't know if they were having to clear out of the house. I mean, I think that's a bit sad, personally.
Yeah. Didn't she work in her community as an historian?
Well,
or someone
she
who wanted
founded,
to keep
she
historical
founded
records?
a historical society in her hometown. I think we're going to send these to that historical society. Why are you amused by that? Because they might not want them.
What if it was the historical society that put them up for sale?
This is what I found really sad, actually, was that these were just on sale on eBay for like scrapbookers to use as kind of like backing paper or whatever.
No way. They're
I
so
can't-
good.
they are brilliant and they go on.
They're amazing.
It's too much for one video, unfortunately, but there's a lot of letters here, and it's great to follow their relationship and the ups and downs of it. And also what's lovely is that it just sort of shows that everyone's similar, in those early days of a relationship. They blow hot and cold. You don't know where you stand, whether they want to be with you or not, eh? But I think it's a shame for them to just be lost to time, because
Yes.
and if the family doesn't want them, then maybe the historical society does. So I think we should send them. I'm happy that they had quite a long life together, at least a good sort of 30 odd years.
Well, they had 30 years together, and then
38
she had another
actually
30.
38 years. They had nearly 40 years together.
That's good going.
Marriage.
That's good going.
Yeah, until he retired, and then she kept going. She must have been in the right state by the time she died. What's the most romantic gesture you've ever made?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
What's the most romantic gesture we've ever made for one another?
You gave me a Star Wars ring.
What, to get married?
Well, I think you meant it to get married, but you didn't propose with it.
Well, I was going to propose, and then a load of people got into the cable car that we were in.
And then one day, a few weeks after, the ring fell off my finger and in between the decking.
It's out there now.
It's just lost out there now.
Yeah.
So that's sad, wasn't it?
We'll find it one day. I mean, the decking's all rotting.
We
anyway,
will
so-
find it
very soon.
very soon.
When one of us goes through the decking, which is about to happen very soon.
Yes.
Right. That's it. Support us on Patreon if you fancy it. You get loads of exclusive stuff, and it helps us. So www.patreon.com/Mr. Biffo. See you later.
Bye.